is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this? Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. We're so grateful you're joining us. It's August 16th, 2022. I'm here with Lindsay and Jeff and one more person who has a medical degree. It's Dr. Coley, everybody. Hello. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
I'm doing well. We have a lot of questions for you. So this morning we want to talk about some big stories dominating just roll that prompter, the headlines to start. First Lady Jill Biden has been diagnosed with COVID. This comes just days after the CDC released new guidelines for dealing with coronavirus. And they felt kind of like, if you have it, don't worry. I wanted to ask you about this. So Dr. Coley, many Americans feel like the pandemic is over and that daily life is back to normal, but there's some confusion. Is the pandemic over?
You know, guys, I've been saying for probably months, if not years, no, the pandemic is not over. But the CDC making this change to the guidelines is them putting their flag into the ground and saying the pandemic is over.
Whoa.
We are now shifting into an endemic phase. Today is a huge inflection point. It's a philosophical shift in how we're thinking about this. Forget about preventing infection. Jill Biden had it. President Biden had it. We're now just preventing severe infection. So in my mind, it's a huge inflection point in our fight against the pandemic. It's the CDC saying that it's time to start moving on with our lives.
So that's a good thing in some ways.
It's a good thing, but we have to be prepared for the next phase.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Man.
fair. I know.
If you're vaccinated and double boosted, how will these new rules affect you?
In fact, I think your life will get a lot easier because they've taken away a lot of the restrictions. So 6 feet distance, gone. If you're exposed to somebody who tests positive, do you have to test to go back to work? Gone.
That doesn't worry you a little? This easing of it?
Well, it does worry me a little bit, but here's the background on what they're doing it on. It's the fact that most of the country has either been vaccinated and double boosted, as Lindsay said, or they've gotten the infection. So at least for the short term, we're protected. Now, here are my concerns about doing this, is that do we know what it means to just let it rip in terms of what's going to happen to our risk of long COVID, especially in our children, because a lot of these guidelines are applying to schools as well. If they get it young, in a few years, are we going to see them having some problems? Is there wide availability of Paxlovid, which is the treatment that everybody should be getting? And I have patients every day in my office say, oh, I got COVID, but I couldn't get Paxlovid. So now we're just letting the infection happen. Is that okay? We still have a plane full of people dying every day. Have we as a country philosophically accepted that is just the normal, and now we're ready to move on?
So has the CDC made a mistake by changing the rules this late in the game? Because when Fauci came out in the very beginning, right, this is kind of the divide. He's like, don't wear a mask. And then right away he's like, wear a mask. So like that changing the game, that's what hesitates people to believe in the CDC or some of the medicines that you say. But I believe you, Doc. I'm just saying for people out there.
Well, I mean, I think it's important to change as the science changes. But let me ask you, Jeff, do you have trust in the CDC?
Somewhat. I am a little worried how they fluctuate with the government or what's good for them at the time, right? And I get why they said, you know, we don't need masks because we didn't want a mad outbreak of people trying to snatch up masks. I get that explanation, but it does put some doubt in your head, right?
I'll be honest, I think we're kind of in the same position right now. One of the reasons that the CDC is making this change is to meet Americans where they are. We know that 54% of Americans are not wearing masks indoors, even though there's high rates of infection. We know that 40% of us have gone back to our life the way that it was before the pandemic. So the CDC, as a public health organization, is saying, okay, we see you, and we're actually going to say it's okay for you to do this with these parameters. Now, to me, that begs a bigger philosophical question, is should the CDC be adapting to our behavior?
Right. Or should we be adapting to theirs?
To theirs.
Right.
They should be setting the gold standard. So I have a philosophical disagreement. If somebody is eating poorly and getting sick and becoming obese, the CDC shouldn't say it's okay to be obese because that's what you're going to do anyways. So that's a whole different discussion.
Right, but I kind of wanted to jump into that because here's what I agree with everything you say, and you've helped me out, Doc, to full disclosure with my wife and everything. I trust in you. I'm double vaxxed. A lot of people don't want to believe that at home, right? But my whole thing is, where was I going with this? I swear to God, I forgot what I was going to say because I wanted to prep so much for people not to hate me, and now I was going to go into this thing and I forgot what it was.
Good picture, Jeff.
Wait, what'd you just say? Oh, here's what it is. I don't like, Doc, the one size fits all. Okay, I don't like that philosophy at all. Okay, I try to work out every day. I try to keep myself fit, but yet I have to abide by guidelines that might not even be within my realm. That's what I don't like about the one-size-fits-all mentality here in the United States.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Please.
So here's the opposite. As a public health organization, if every person is allowed to do whatever they want with some
Like leave their phones on during a show?
Like every person's allowed to do what they want with limited understanding of the science or incomplete understanding of the science,
Right.
it's going to be utter chaos.
Right.
So
I get
they
it.
have to make rules that apply to the population health, not just the individual. Now, you're an intelligent individual, so you can make informed choices
Thank you.
about yourself and your health,
Right.
but make sure you're making it based on science and not politics, because that's where even in our heads, even in your head.
But how would politics get involved? If I know that if I work out, I'm in good shape, how does that conflate to politics?
Because if a certain politician says that wearing a mask doesn't protect you, perhaps you're more likely to believe that person because they're a prominent figure. That's not science. Masks protect you.
Right.
That's politics. That's people saying.
I don't just, I know you might think that and people out there think that. I go with my own instinct, right? I don't fall because of politically, definitely not politically. But I just kind of go with like just curiosity, right?
But can't you see the danger of the politics seeping into our lives if we let them?
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of people are influenced by that, right? But I think a lot of people put that label on certain people, and I don't mean to take over this whole thing while we have a doctor up here, but a lot of people are just like, oh, you're up there, so you must not be a believer and you're a Trumper and you don't wear a mask. It's like, what are you talking about? Aren't I allowed to ask questions as an American?
Absolutely, and you should. That's the part of being American. You're allowed to dissent. You're allowed to talk about it. Can I ask, do you think the CDC is doing what you said to Jeff not to do? Did they go political?
Yes.
And say, you know what, this is just too much for us to do. Just do whatever you want. Because in my mind, it felt like instead of doing the science, they actually did what you said. They went political and said, we're never going to get it, so just do what you want.
Partially, yes.
Okay.
And I think that fact that it happened today, when the high background rate of infection, is the CDC saying, hey guys, trust us again. We're going to listen to you. This is what you wanted.
Yeah.
Now, the science partially supports that, but not wholly. And until they have all their ducks lined up for the next phase, I think it could be a little risky.
Interesting talk. Let us know what you have questions as well.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you again. We love having you here. Coming up on DBL, he has written some of your favorite books. James Patterson stopped by. How his latest project is completely different from the rest, and new details in the FBI raid of former President Trump. We're going to clear up all the headlines for you, so stay tuned. That's coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by
I think it is one of those stories we're all going to be like, what? So raised
Yes.
you.
Why am I right all the time?
Welcome to another week of Jeff's Mustache.
Am I going crazy? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I am. Hi guys, I'm doing Tai Chi for the first time. Didn't know, hold on, Mrs. Jody. Tai Chi, just so you know, is helping me with, I get morning anxiety, so if anyone has any cures, I could really use your help. I'm kind of struggling big time now. You guys know I'm really transparent. So anyway, this is what it sort of looks like. You bring it up, you bring it down, you get a ball, you bring it away. You make yourself a crane. A crane. You come back, you push the energy, you come back, and you start again. Hi, Michael D. Tai Chi. I did learn that and I'm trying to do it. So if you guys have any suggestions, other than like don't drink coffee, which I hear you, but I'm really struggling. So I always crowdsource with you guys. So a lot of tummy issues and.
I switched over to tea recently.
Really? Taylor switching to tea? It's just dirty water to me.
1 cup of coffee, tea after.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
like 1 cup
struggling,
of
Michael
coffee in the
Dean.
morning.
I'm struggling.
Why?
Anxiety.
Oh.
Just a balling up.
Real quick, guys. We've got two beats here. One, of course, is the Trump demanding the affidavit release.
1 minute.
And all
So how
about
did
that.
they take the passports by accident? I just need
I mean, I don't know how they took them by accident. Technically, a passport
We
is
don't know if it was
government property.
property.
I don't know if it was
Right,
by
they
accident or
issue
not.
it
Is
to
it?
you, but it's their property. But I mean, they were returned to him, and he said there were 3 of them. So I think one was expired, one is his personal one, and then there was a government issued one that he used during his government travels.
Got it.
But they have been returned to him. I don't think it's
Because
all that unusual.
everyone was going on a rampage about him being a flight risk yesterday, and now it's like
Yeah,
not
I don't
even
think
true.
that was it at all. I think it was just taken and returned. And then of course the second.
Welcome back. There's a lot going on with the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago, and let's be real, all the headlines are starting to get just a little bit confusing, so we want to sort of set it up for you. Here's the latest. Trump and some Republicans are calling for the release of what they call the affidavit that permitted the FBI to search his home. They say that by releasing the affidavit, it is in the interest of transparency. Now, the Department of Justice, on the other hand, is saying absolutely no way, because releasing this information could identify witnesses and disrupt the investigation. Trump posted this message on his social media platform, writing, quote, "I call for the immediate release of the completely unredacted affidavit." He also called the search, quote, "a break-in," and said the judge for the case should recuse themselves. So here are the questions we have. What could be in the affidavit? How is it different from the search warrant? Should it be released? Also, when, if ever, will we find out what documents were taken in the search? I know for a fact that I read some research on it, and they said the documents in there are not only top secret, they're at a signal intelligence level, which is like you're not allowed to talk about whatever is even in that. I don't think we'll ever get the documents released at all because they're top secret. I also think that the informant is part of the affidavit, and they don't want to give up the informant. There's a mole in the Trump world, and if they give up the affidavit, they give up the security of that witness. What do you think?
Well, I think every lawyer that's talking on television about this is saying that there has to be a mounting case of evidence for them to have gone and raided this man's house. Because what I always say is that you do not want to ignite, there were 70+ million people that voted for President Trump. So you don't want to ignite the base, not the ones that have been lost after January 6th, because obviously there were a lot of people who have no interest in seeing him run again. But there are people who really still love President Trump, who followed him to Truth Social. And you don't want to ignite all those people if anything has been mishandled in this situation. So when he's complaining about his passports being taken and saying that that was a mistake and they returned them, it's just making the case for people, whether you think it's right or wrong, to say, you know what, now let's double down our energy and let's get him in the running. And that's my number one thing, is that I would not like to see him run for president ever again.
Interesting. What do you think, Jeff?
You didn't hear that?
What? Yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I want to get your take.
I don't think he should run either. I want this whole thing to be over. I hope they find something that says, listen, you're not going to jail, but you're never running for president again, and we never talk about politics ever again. Or I'm going to go work for UPS. That's
UPS,
my answer.
Which you've done
really
before,
great
right?
job.
You worked there.
Yeah, I love it. I got an in over there. So UPS is hiring.
Let me
Biggie
know.
says.
Knock it out. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Trump's former personal attorney, you all know him as the America's mayor. We used to know him as this Rudy Giuliani. He's finding himself in some hot water. We now know he is the target of a criminal investigation in Georgia. This is all related to possible 2020 election interference in that state. He is ordered to testify before a grand jury investigating the matter, which is all happening tomorrow. That is, if he actually shows up. So what do you think of Giuliani being the target? Do you think he'll be held criminally liable for some of his false claims? Okay, enough is enough. Here's the thing, racketeering and conspiracy. This guy, in my mind, is going to jail.
This is Tori's dream.
I'm just telling you, I don't know if Trump will go to jail. I agree with you on that. I don't know if we could reach that level of doing a former president in jail. It's crazy that we even raided a former president's house. But Giuliani has stepped in it so many times, and in my opinion, under the influence, he will be disbarred and he will be going to jail. Am I wrong?
Well, this one feels different than all the other times that we were looking at Giuliani. I feel like there really
the Georgia one.
Right, it feels really specific. And there's been conversations about this Georgia investigation for a while, throughout the entire January 6th hearings. As we watched them all play out, we knew that there was something going on in Georgia that everyone was very hush-hush about. And now we have more details. And so I don't know, but like I said, it's one of those things where we'll see, but I hope that it does turn into what people are hoping that it will be, because otherwise it's like one of those things where we're doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same result, which is nothing.
Yeah, but send him to jail. Put him in jail.
Everybody in jail.
Put him in jail.
Jeff's at UPS.
Yeah. Go to jail.
That's right.
I love it. We'll be right back.
This summer, several record-breaking heat waves were reported in many places throughout the world, including in the U.S. More than 125 million Americans were under heat advisories and urged to stay indoors. But some people who work outside didn't have that option. Like this UPS driver that collapsed in the heat in front of a home in Arizona, captured on a doorbell video camera. The homeowner blames it on the lack of AC.
They don't have AC in those trucks. His safety is my concern.
Many people on social media, including a UPS driver on TikTok, have made the same claim. And Verify viewer Kim asked us to confirm whether that was true or false. So let's verify. Our sources are the United Parcel Service, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, the labor union representing 350,000 UPS workers, and UPS driver Charles Zamora from Mount Vernon, New York, who showed Verify the inside of his truck.
We have the doors open because there's no AC.
Both UPS and the union confirmed that UPS delivery trucks do not have air conditioning installed. Zamora says working in the extreme heat without AC takes a toll on his body.
Sometimes you can't really breathe because you're so hot.
In a July 20th Facebook post, the Teamsters discussed the truck's lack of air conditioning, writing that UPS has claimed that air conditioning would be ineffective in cooling down the company's package delivery trucks. A UPS spokesperson told Verify the company's delivery trucks make frequent stops, which requires the engine to be turned off and the doors to be opened and closed about 130 times a day on average. Their solution? UPS says it offers fans to drivers upon request, adding, "We have studied heat mitigation with our vehicles and integrated forced air systems with venting to create airflow around the driver and cargo areas. So we can verify, no. UPS delivery trucks don't have air conditioning." With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
Welcome back. He's written some of the best thrillers of our time, and more than likely, you have a couple of his books already on your shelves. Check out our interview with the James Patterson.
Hey there. Wow. Yes. James, quite the fan club over here. We get some big names, but apparently Jimmy Pat is how it's going down over here.
JP.
All right,
JP.
Jimmy Pat, I'll take that.
All right, so James, is it true that you once saw a fan steal one of your books? How did that go down?
I think it was Tori.
And did you give him a double leg or her?
Yeah, it was Tori. This was early. It was early on, and you know, if somebody picks up our book, we'll watch them, authors. And I watched this woman. This is early on in my career, and she picked up the book, and she put it under her arm, and she walked down an aisle, and then she slid it into her pocketbook, and she stole it. But my only thing was, does it count as a sale? You know?
You just let her walk out? You didn't like give her a little tap on the shoulder?
No, I thought I might be happy. I thought if it counted as a sale, it would be good. It was the bookstore's job to get her, you know.
Oh, man. Yep.
He's a good guy.
He's a great guy.
That would be the most meta moment ever is when James Patterson stops you outside the bookstore to say,
crime.
put James Patterson's book back.
Yeah,
that would stay with her forever.
That would be so weird. Hi, I'm Tori. Big fan, Alex Cross, my whole family. Anyway, in your autobiography, you wrote that growing up, you actually had zero interest in being a writer. So I need to know how you went from that to writing some of the best-selling thrillers of our time, and also being a really prolific writer. I mean, I need them, so I need them like an addiction.
Yeah. Somebody said you're lucky if you find something in life you like to do, and I think there's some truth there. And then it's a miracle if somebody will pay you to do it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened to me. I mean, my father grew up in a Newburgh poorhouse. His mother was a charwoman there. She cleaned the bathrooms and stuff. So my background is sort of, you know, kind of down to earth. And I still look at it as a blessing that everything that happens to me, writing books with Bill Clinton or Dolly Parton, this is a thrill. It's just exciting. Being on the show today, that's fun.
Oh, it's an honor to talk to you. Now I have to know, in terms of writing partners, like, I know you can't say which one you prefer, but tell us the styles between Dolly Parton and Bill Clinton.
I'm not telling you which one I prefer. I know who that is. That's Clinton.
Yeah, so what's it like having him as a writing partner?
Tell them apart. They're both great, and the nice thing about both of them is they become friends. Honestly, I mean, we were out with on Saturday night with Hillary and Bill, which was terrific. And Dolly, actually, for my birthday, she sent me, and she knew it was good because she framed it, but she sent me a poem that she'd written called New Old Friends. And in the poem, she said she'd written a song with Kenny Rogers in which they agreed there were no such thing as new old friends. And she said, even though we've only been together for about 18 months, writing the book and doing the movie, she said, you are a new old friend, and we're that close. And then it said, I will always love you, Dolly. So, I mean, that's been the really nice thing for me. Both of these, it's just very, very sweet and fun and nice and, you know, like that. That's the way you want it to be, right? I mean, sure, you guys are close, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we hate each other. It's a love-hate relationship.
I'm not sending Sam any letters, you know, but we are close.
I would like a poem from you, Al. I would prefer a poem.
We'll use Dolly's poem.
Okay, the fact that you've become so close with some of the people that you've
you've co-written books with. If you could pick anyone, and I really want you to think about this, living or dead, who would you co-write a book with and why?
Ooh.
That's good.
Well, man, I'd like to do it with the Pope. I think that'd be cool. Putin, the only trouble there is he'd probably kill me. But Putin, he's got a lot of stories, I think. I mean, those would, in terms of people that are alive. Dad, I'd have to think about that a little bit. I'd like to know more about Shakespeare, so that would be interesting.
That would be good.
I think he had a lot of collaborators, so we might hit it off.
Wow.
I feel like he's so down to earth, though. He'd be like, "Yes, I wrote a book with Shakespeare, and he was really nice.
We went to dinner with
wrote
him.
a poem. You know, we're going to dinner."
It's okay.
Very easy. All right, you just published a new book called Diana, William, and Harry about the royals. Now, how did Princess Diana protect her kids from the pressures of royal life? What was that like, also researching that?
Well, fortunately, which I didn't know till about halfway through, in England, they have this archive where the British reporters, everything that they've ever written about Diana was there.
Oh, wow.
So that really, really was helpful. So there's a lot of stuff in the book that's never been out here in America. But the whole focus of it, when you watch a movie like Spencer, and it's so dark and whatever, and that certainly was a part of her story. But another big part of hers was just the way she felt about her kids. And she said she had never experienced true happiness until she held William in her arms. And she had been a nursery school teacher when she was very young. And I think, being a mom and having kids, she wanted that and she needed it. And she was very kind of naughty humor. For Will's 13th birthday, he had these pictures of models on his wall. And she invited Claudia Schiffer and Christy Turlington and Naomi Campbell to his birthday party. And then she gave him a cake. So, she was kind of naughty, and that was kind of fun, and that was her relationship. And the boys said she was the best mother ever, best ever mother ever.
That's amazing. Wow. Thank you so much, JP, for chatting. James' autobiography.
We could have done another 10 minutes.
We got to have you back
immediately. Have to. And James's autobiography, James Patterson by James Patterson, is on sale now, and his latest book, Diana, William, and Harry, is out today. Look at these two bad boys. I got them right here, Tori.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you so much. We appreciate you, James. Hope to see you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Big
A lot of
honor.
fun.
Thank you.
Bye.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
We touch a lot of surfaces every day that other people have also touched. Amid the monkeypox outbreak, which the federal government has declared a public health emergency, many people online have questions about how the virus spreads. Verify viewers Becky and Rob specifically asked whether monkeypox can be transmitted by touching surfaces. So let's verify. Can you get monkeypox by touching contaminated surfaces? Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the California Department of Public Health, and Dr. Scott Roberts, assistant professor of infectious diseases at the Yale School of Medicine, who says the risk of getting infected through a surface is quite low.
It's not zero, but it is low. And so that risk of a fleeting contact or somebody briefly touching something probably does not lead to enough virus on that surface to infect you if you get exposed.
So yes, a person could get infected with monkeypox by touching contaminated objects, fabrics, or surfaces that have been used by someone with the virus. But that's not the most common way that it spreads. Monkeypox transmission primarily occurs through close personal, often skin-to-skin contact with people who have monkeypox symptoms, such as a rash and sores, according to the CDC and the California Department of Public Health. Roberts says studies are currently ongoing about how long the virus can survive on surfaces. So far, experts know that the virus family monkeypox comes from can survive on surfaces, particularly when in cool, dark, and low humidity environments. But Dr. Roberts and the CDC both say that these viruses are sensitive to many disinfectants.
This virus is easily killed. So common disinfectants that we use, such as alcohol wipes or Lysol wipes, very easily kill the monkeypox virus.
So we can verify, yes, monkeypox can spread by touching contaminated surfaces, but the current risk is low. Health experts are much more concerned about COVID-19 because unlike monkeypox, the virus can spread through the air. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till.
You've seen the photos, blisters and bumps on the skin, what many have come to know as the hallmark of a monkeypox infection. But does it always look like this? Our question, does a monkeypox rash always happen outside of the body? Our sources, Dr. Cameron Wolfe, an infectious disease specialist with Duke Health, and the CDC.
You don't need to have skin surface blisters. I think that's actually a big part of clinician education, is that it's not just the skin lesions.
Wolf says sometimes the rash appears on what are called the mucous membranes. Those are the moist inner linings of some organs and body cavities.
They can be in the mouth. They can be inside the rectum, for example. They can be in the vaginal canal.
In fact, an early CDC analysis of monkeypox cases in the U.S. found the rash was most frequently reported on the genitals, with 46% of people experiencing that. The next most common places for the rash were arms, face, and legs. Wolf says it's why healthcare providers should be attuned to other red flags that might indicate hidden blisters.
Rectal pain, pain on defecation is a common way of finding.
So we can verify, no, a monkeypox rash is not always outside of the body, and doctors say knowing that might help some detect infection sooner.
Welcome back. If you have arthritis, you're all too familiar with that pain and that swelling that everyday activities can cause. So how can you ease that joint pain? It's time for some joint and muscle support brought to you by Omega XL. While treatments may include different kinds of medications and even steroid injections, did you know that regular massages can improve your circulation and ease the symptoms? Studies have found that massages reduce pain, increase blood flow to the joints, and can even boost your mood. Omega XL has improved the lives of millions of consumers, supported by 30 years of clinical research. Omega XL's powerful and proven benefits has transformed the lives of athletes, celebrities, and dedicated daily users. So call 1-800-686-5325 or visit omegaxl.com for more information. We have some more information on something else. We want to wish a happy first birthday to Lindsay's daughter, Kinsley. Happy birthday, baby. Oh my gosh. How you feeling, Mama?
I gave Colin a high five, like we made it 1 year.
Yeah.
This is, I can't even explain it. This has been the best year of my life. She is just the best blessing of all time. It's just, I look at her every morning, I'm happy. I'll be sick, I'm still happy. I want to say thank you to everybody who gave her or said nice things to her. We have one friends that own a company called Jewels for the Face, and they made her some custom Cartier shades that I will give to her when she's old enough to take care of them. Now this is a fancy baby, so happy birthday, live life out loud and full.
Bye, Kinsley. We'll see you